I'm about to prove to you how, if you are a Democrat or a Republican, you are both inaccurate and accurate at the same time. Both are right and both are wrong at the same time. Both are right in their own dimension when one zooms out and looks at the entire field. Both are inaccurate. You see, depending on if you are Democrat or Republican, whichever one you lean more towards, this is a direct mirror psychologically. The mirror for Democrats is going to be identity. The mirror for Republicans is going to be authority. Let's take a look from the Democratic partisan lens and discuss the psychological mirror of identity. The main organizing question that Democrats have is who is being seen, named, protected, and affirmed. The Democratic partisans see identity as equal to moral legitimacy. Democrats see lived experience as equal to a truth signal. They also see inclusion equal to safety. The Democratic strengths, this partisan sees recognition as strength, empathy as strength, social repair as strength. With any light, there also comes shadow. The Democratic Party shadow is going to be fragmentation, victim hierarchy, and relativized truth. Let's open the lens to the other side of the coin, the Republican partisan party. The psychological mirror for anyone who leans towards the Republican Party is going to be some organized questions of who decides, who enforces, who maintains order. They lean towards authority. They see authority as being the moral legitimacy. They value rules as equal to truth signals. The Republican Party also sees structure as equal to safety. The Republican Party's strengths are going to be stability, responsibility, continuity. Again, with any light, there comes shadow. The Republican partisan party shadow aspect is going to be rigidity, power blindness, and suppressed injustice. So let's discuss why both of these partisans are very sticky. There's truths to both, because both identity and authority are primal survival tools. From the Democratic Party aspect, the identity answers, do I belong? From the Republican aspect, authority answers the question of, who's in charge when things go wrong? Now, why there's so much division between both partisans, Democratic and Republic, is because it is human essential need to have both. But modern politics splits the two, authority and identity. So let's discuss the trap that both of these partisans fall into. When the Democratic Party sees identity as absolute, what happens is the truth fractures. Now, when the Republican Party sees authority as absolute, compassion collapses. This actually makes both partisans very dangerous. One partisan is afraid that identity without authority equates to chaos. The other partisan is afraid that authority without identity is oppression. Now you can see that both are correct, however they are very much so incomplete. They're missing the third center. Neither partisan is rooted in principle. Identity answers who, authority answers who decides. Principle answers what is universally true. So, what does principle entail? Principle includes natural law found in God's God's works, nature, reciprocity, accountability, proportionality, self-control, cause and effect. Without principle, identity becomes entitlement, and authority becomes domination. We have Democrats organizing reality through identity. We have Republicans organizing reality through authority. Neither partisan organizes reality through universal principles. This translates into extreme polarity. Now, we are actually going to get into how ICE really does expose this fault line perfectly. ICE is going to be the cleanest X-ray of the split between identity and authority without universal principle. ICE activates within both partisans one of the deepest fears on each side. Now, we have ICE as the perfect fault line because it sits at the exact intersection of borders, belonging, force, law, human suffering. So most people are not going to respond rationally. They're going to be extremely primitive. Let's look at ICE through both lenses, each partisan, Democratic and Republican. The Democratic psyche, what they see first is going to be a human, a person, not a status, a family, not a violation, a story, not a statute. So their nervous system naturally locks into someone's humanity absolutely being erased. So ICE then becomes symbolically dehumanization, state violence, and identity invalidation. As a reminder, the democratic moral frame is identity is greater than law. Therefore, when law harms identity, the law is seen as immoral in democratic eyes. This is why, from the Democratic partisan side, we hear things like, no human is illegal, abolish ICE, borders are arbitrary. Now, these are not going to be policy arguments, however they are identity protection reflexes. So here's where the shadow side fails. Ignoring second-order effects like incentives, collapsing sovereignty into cruelty, treating enforcement itself as violence, ultimately confusing compassion with coherence. For Democrats, they have the moral clarity, but the systemic blindness. Let's look into the Republican partisan psyche and how they see the ICE as authority. Republicans see a border, they do not see biography. Republicans see rules, they are not seeing narrative. They also see a breach and not a backstory. The Republicans' nervous system will naturally lock into, if rules are not enforced, order will collapse. So, ICE will symbolically become sovereignty, lawfulness, national boundary integrity. Again, the Republican psyche mirrors law is greater than identity. Republicans believe, at the core, if identity overrides law, society will become ungovernable. This is why we hear things like, they broke the law, enforce the border, we cannot take everyone. Now, these are not heartless statements, however, they are order-preserved reflexes. Republican shadow failure, ignoring human cost at point of enforcement, treating suffering as collateral, moralizing legality, confusing enforcement with justice, resulting in structural coherence, however, with moral numbness.